Let's take a closer look at Hasbro's Gaming Greats 6-inch Black Series Darth Malak action figure.
Villa Varykino, living the Star Wars life.
Hello there, and thanks for visiting the Villa Varykino YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be taking a closer look at Hasbro's Gaming Greats new additions to the KOTOR collection, Darth Malak. So I'm very, very excited about this figure. I got to see it in a preview at the Hasbro booth at Star Wars Celebration in London. And as a big fan of Knights of the Old Republic, this was definitely on my shopping list. As you can see, I have some of the other figures from the Knights of the Old Republic line. And as you may notice, they are all completely different boxes. So before I open this up, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the packaging. So of course, one of the very first characters from Knights of the Old Republic to appear in the Black Series line was Darth Revan in the original black box when they still had that red stripe number down the side. Then when we came along to Jedi Revan, they had created the Gaming Greats collection, and we see that they sort of adopted this purple color scheme in a similar box style to those original ones, but no big sort of numbers on it. Then by the time we got to the Wookiee Zalbar, we had progressed to the sort of the modern style with this angled side art and nice clear window. And again, we have the Gaming Greats sticker here, but this one is one of those numbered ones. So we can see that this one is number 4 in the line. And then moving on, by the time we get to Darth Malak, we have entered into the plastic-free packaging era. So if you are hoping to put a boxed set of Knights of the Old Republic Black Series figures on your shelf, it is not going to match. It's kind of a bit of a mishmash. We know that Bastila is coming out at the same time as Malak. She is very hard to find here in New Zealand, so I don't have her just yet, but she has the same matching packaging as Darth Malak with this windowless box. So it's, I really was umming and ahhing about whether I was going to be keeping my figures, you know, in their boxes and stuff like that, but seeing how it all looks, I'm going to open them all up, and as you can see, I've already started with that Revan, and I'm going to go through and open them all up, but Darth Malak is the newest one, so of course this is the one that I am going to open today. So let's take a look at the box. Of course we have this satin finish black with the gloss promo image of the figure on the front, and we have this Gaming Greats sticker in silver and black on there on the front. We have this sort of blue teal color for the Knights of the Old Republic collection here. We can see it says Darth Malak from Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, plastic-free packaging. We have some very cool art of him on the side with his fist up. I think this is really cool. I think it depicts him quite well. And yeah, the shame about this is we know that they have obviously got a big artwork, which makes me wonder whether we will see some of the other characters re-released in a packaging to match for people that really want to line them all up on their shelf. To the back, we can see that this one is number 20. Gaming Greats Knights of the Old Republic, and we have another cool pose there of Darth Malak on the back. The text here says Darth Malak was once the apprentice of Darth Revan, a fallen Jedi turned Sith Lord who inspires terror at just the mention of the name. With Revan presumed dead, Malak embarked on his mission to conquer the galaxy on his own. And we have that text repeated in a few different languages there. We have a image of the figure there with a scale guide here, 6.5 inches or 16.5 centimeters there, and he comes with a single-bladed red lightsaber, and of course that plastic-free packaging text there. So standard packaging. It's a shame we can't see the figure, so it kind of ruins the aesthetic for people that like to keep their Black Series boxed, but for me it kind of solves my conundrum. I was really wondering if I was going to be keeping all my KOTOR figures boxed or opening them up or buying two so I could do both, but because the line has been interrupted and changed so many times between the packaging styles, I'm just going to keep it simple and open them all up. I do try to be an out-of-box collector when I can and not fall into the trap of buying things twice. So it kind of solves some issues there for me, even though I do love how they look in those boxes all lined up. If you've got a lot of these, you know, all lined up on your shelf, they do look amazing. I do really like the way that they look there, but I'm looking forward to creating some fun scenes. And of course, if you're going to build a Knights of the Old Republic display, you're going to need Darth Malak himself. So one of the things that I'm interested in is how well will they have executed his sort of jaw covering here. And some action figures that they have done in the past, it looks very big and chunky because, you know, if you've played the video game, not too much of a spoiler, he can take it off. So I'm hoping that I will be able to take this one off and see what the sculpting looks like underneath, and whether it looks clunky and sort of big and oversized, or whether it sort of fits there very nicely. So without further ado, let's get into this. I'm just going to push these other ones to the back, give me more space. There we go. And let's get stuck in and open this one up. I like to go in from the underside because there's just this one piece of sellotape, which I find is a little bit easier to get into. If my scissors are going to cooperate with me today. There we go. And let's get him out. So the blind box figures are generally just wrapped in tissue paper in their tray, and he is no different. We can see that we have a lightsaber here wrapped in paper, and we have the figure wrapped in Gaming Greats branded tissue paper. So I'm just going to see if I can, no, I'll probably cut some tape to get this one out, or maybe I'll just cut the cardboard and be done with it. Let's see, this is probably the easier way to go. Okay, we've got that. I'm just going to pop that down. I'm very excited. I know that I saw it in person at Star Wars Celebration, but those tend to be, you know, the very nicest of promo ones. You know, everything's done nicely. Let's see how this one looks. Okay, so we've got some cardboard here. We've got some extra tissue paper under that jaw piece. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so we see, first off, he has a soft goods cape, which is kind of to the side, which is accurate to the game and is not just a sort of a classic Vader cape going down both sides. We can see he's got just a few kinks in his pose, which, you know, when they're not in those plastic trays, they do tend to be just a little bit squished together so that they fit in that tissue paper. So the cape looks like that is fixed in pretty well under that sort of neck collar there. We've got a lot of articulation to go through here. This is interesting. Okay. So his overall red costume, very red here. There is some debate as to the sort of the correct color. I know if you play the original game, it appears almost sort of orange in some scenes, but sort of in modern merchandising, they have sort of just come together and decided it's a red outfit. So that's how we see it depicted most of the time, as just sort of this classic red costume color. So I'm seeing a lot of articulation, and I can see first up that there appears to be a join here in the front. Or at least I'm hoping that's a join and not just a massive crack in the front of my figure. We shall see. That's one of the first things I can see there, right in the front. We've got a sort of a ribbed black neck sort of patch there. There is either perhaps glue or a little bit of paint on the edge here. Again, something I would not be able to see because of the blind box. That's the sort of thing that I'm generally looking out for when I'm looking for action figures at my local toy store. I'm looking over the paint apps and trying to pick the best one as a collector. That's the sort of thing that I'm looking for. So let's check out the articulation. We've got upper in sort of mid torso. Pretty good movement there. We have a bit at the waist as well, which is pretty good. Lifting his cape, we have articulation at the shoulder. We've got elbow, that's a bit stiff. The sculpting is obviously going to look a little clunky because he has these ribbed sleeves. So as soon as you sort of break that line, they start looking a little odd. but that's, you know, part and parcel for some of the fabric sculptures of the Black Series line. He's got a lightsaber grip hand here that can rotate at the wrist, and again, very similar articulation on his other hand with a very similar shaped grip hand there as well. So pretty much, you know, we don't see him use a blaster. He's going to have that circular lightsaber grip for both hands. So he has a split sort of softer leather skirt here at the side, so we can lift his leg, but that is pretty restricted really. You're not going to get a lot of movement there, but I see a line, and yes, there is sort of side to side articulation there at that line there on the upper thigh. So you get a little bit of side to side pose, but honestly it looks a little bit odd when you twist their legs completely the wrong way. We've got pretty good sculpting here on the knees. That join is pretty well hidden in the drape of his pants, which I like. Pretty stiff, to be honest. That's taking a fair amount of pushing to bend that back. But to be honest, I think he looks much better standing straight. And then we have, you know, side to side at the knee there as well. And we have a little bit of articulation at the ankle there, which is always useful, helping us to pose our figures standing up straight on the shelf. We have a bit of a sort of a tabard attached to the belt and this front short tunic section hanging down the front, and we have a wider section here in the back. We've got a loop here that is hollow, which looks like perhaps that is somewhere to put his lightsaber. It looks like it would fit the lightsaber that comes with him. So I think this is interesting. The texture and the paint job of his chest plate is different to the rest. In modern sort of merchandise of Darth Malak, they have kind of depicted this chest piece as like sort of like an armor chest plate over a fabric tunic, and I feel like the difference in the color, hopefully it's showing up on camera here, this feels a bit more of a vibrant red to this, and just the paint finish, there's a subtle sort of pebbled texture to the sculpted cloth components to his costume, whereas this looks much more sort of flat and shiny. So you can see that they have sort of decided that for this sculpt they are rendering this as like an armored chest plate, especially with that sort of shape here at the sides, sort of like a stormtrooper chest plate over a fabric costume. And we can sort of see some of that being echoed here in the back, where they sort of decided it's going to stop here. And that's interesting. So now the nerve-wracking part is, I think I can see where the seam of this is going to come off, but this is always the really nerve-wracking thing. If you are familiar with the somewhat old by now Gentle Giant mini bust of Darth Malak, you could take the jaw piece off, but if you didn't click it on oh so carefully in a very, very specific manner, it would crack instantly. And it was so fragile trying to get that thing on and off, and they ended up having to issue a whole bunch of basically replacement parts or replacement figures because of just how fragile that piece was, and they didn't warn collectors. So I've had a little bit of experience with the very sort of tricky nature of taking off and removing that Darth Malak jaw piece. So here I go. Let's see how easily this comes off. Okay, that feels like that is perhaps hinged. No? Okay, phew. That's interesting. Okay, so we can see this piece has two little pegs here, which slot into the pegs on the back of his head. And I get the feeling if let's see, well, the other side, okay, the other side is going to pull off in the same manner. So I'm going to pull that off, and we have two pegs there that I'm going to clip into the back there. So when we turn them around, we can see the notches there and there at the back with sort of the little metal plates, and then we can see the sculpting, and I'm hoping my camera's staying focused on his head here to capture the damage to his face and the sort of voice. Oh, modulators. Sorry, I'm looking at them too close because I'm really just really appreciating the sculpting work that they have done on this figure. So I'm trying to look at this figure close up. Hopefully I'll put some pictures in here just to show you guys. I'm really quite impressed. I wasn't expecting to like his face sculpt underneath quite this much. I thought it might look a little creepy. You know, obviously he is, you know, slightly deformed here with this skin damage and his lower jaw missing. But I really like the detail. I like the way they've done that. Obviously we have a little bit of some, you know, some holes here at the back to clip that on. But they're pretty well hidden towards the back of the head. So when you view him from the front or even from the side, I'm not really seeing that much until I turn him to the side. So if you're posing him on a shelf like that, I don't see it. And that's honestly a pretty good way to do it. So we have got, you know, now that I've got that off, we've got a little bit more articulation here because of course those side plates were very close to this shoulder silver section. But yeah, he looks pretty scary with that off. So of course the trick here now is how easy is it to put these back on? So let's get a try. Okay, gonna line up these little pegs. I'm thinking that it might just be a case of getting those pegs lined up, and we'll see how tricky it is to try and do this on camera. Okay, that's going to pop right off. Okay, this is going to take me a little bit to pop these back on, or I might just leave them off because that is, okay, that one wants to clip on, but then you've got to get his chin. Okay, so I got one side there. I just got to find where I dropped the other piece. Here it is. Okay, so I'm just going to stand him down and see how well I can get this other side, because I really want to know how tricky is that going to be, especially with this front. I probably put the one side on wrong first. Okay, let's see how well I can pop this on. Okay, even trying to fumble around on camera, that wasn't too hard. We do have that join there at the front, but to be honest, that's pretty good. It's not nearly as chunky as I thought it might be for a removable piece. You know, perhaps they could have given us an option of just like a different head sculpt, two heads, one with the sort of the jaw armor and one with it removed. Perhaps that would have been a more preferred option for some collectors, because we are left with that seam at the front. And personally for me, I always think of Malak as having his armor plates on. That's how we see him most of the time in the video game. There's only a few specific scenes where he does not have it on. But I don't mind it too much. I think it's kind of fun that they've figured out, you know, the sculpting. And to be honest, though, especially around the ears, I was almost not certain if I would be able to take them off because they look like so closely fitting along his head there. Very cool. Good paint on his eyes too. I notice if you've seen the 4-inch one, he has a bit of a sort of a googly eye expression, and I know that figure is quite old by now. They have improved the face paint for, you know, the modern figures, but this is pretty cool. Just got to tighten those joins up there a little bit. I was fumbling a little bit, but overall, you know, there's just that tiny little paint slip there. Not too bad. I've seen a lot worse on some figures. And I think that paint, I can probably wiggle this to get it joined up just a little tighter than I can on camera. But overall, I think he looks pretty cool. I'm just going to see how well he holds his lightsaber, and I'll just get his lightsaber out, wrapped up in the sort of tissue paper packet. Let's get this one out and have a look. Okay, we've got some pretty cool detailing here. And we can see his silver lightsaber with these sort of fun sort of claws. Very pointy sort of detailed end. It's looking pretty cool. Very Sithly. Got a nice long red blade. So let's see how well he can hold this one. It's quite a long lightsaber. Oh, that goes in there really nicely. So because it is quite a long one and a little bit thinner, there's a lot where he can hold it. That looks pretty cool. And I'm curious to see if it's supposed to fit in this, or perhaps that was just sort of a left over from the video game design. Okay, not sure that you would necessarily put a lit lightsaber there in it. Let's see if we can take the blade off. Come on, I feel like this should come out. Am I going to have to wiggle it? Or am I just... Okay, there. The lightsaber blade can come out. So he has his hilt across his back where it's going to be sort of hidden when he's wearing his cloak. So there you have that. I think that's kind of fun. And if I wiggle that out, I can put his hilt in his hand. So you can hold just the hilt. That looks pretty cool. So we've basically got all the different sort of poses there with his mask on or off, his lightsaber lit or unlit in his hand or in his back holster there. I think that is pretty cool. So I'm going to clear the packaging away and I'm going to compare it to the very, very original Darth Revan from the Black Box series there to take a look at the two classic Sith from the classic video game. So for comparison, I have the original Black Box Revan number 34 here loose, right next to the new gaming grades Darth Malak. And we can see there is quite a height difference, which is accurate because of course Malak is a very tall character in the game. And I think it's fun to finally have these two together to be able to compare them because of course this figure is kind of a little bit old now. So it's interesting to see, you know, the styling, the paint apps, the sculpting, the cloth goods and everything like that. I still have to say this Darth Revan figure is one of my all-time favorite Black Series figures. I was so torn about this one. I was only able to find it in that one box and I ummed and ahed about whether I was going to take it out, but I was like, no, I have to see this closer up. I really, really want to enjoy it and I absolutely love this one. And of course, now I have the Darth Malak to go with it. So of course, there is something a little less I want to say maybe refined about this figure compared to this one, but I think that just comes down to perhaps the original character design. There is a lot of details to Darth Revan's outfit. We've got all sorts of different fabric components and just a lot of detail there on the chest where when you break it down, Darth Malak's outfit is essentially just sort of like a red shirt and pants. You know, he's got a few little bits of details. Perhaps this could have been fabric down the front. Revan's front tabard is plastic on this one, so I feel like that is in keeping with the sort of details that we would expect from a Black Series figure. We still have a soft goods cape, which we don't always see in the Black Series line, so I think that that's pretty good, and I like the fact that they are, you know, accurately sort of scaled together. If you want to put them together as a scene, I was really worried that, you know, Revan is a super popular character and it was so exciting to see Hasbro release this figure in the Disney era, and I was not expecting them to continue with the rest of the Knights of the Old Republic characters. That's why I love the Gaming Greats series. It lets Hasbro and other toy companies release older action figure characters that perhaps aren't in the new Disney era canon, but it lets them make merchandise. So I'm so excited to see that they are continuing. I want to get all of the major characters from Knights of the Old Republic together, but of course it wouldn't be a KOTOR set without Darth Malak, and I'm really excited to have him here. I think it's a shame for collectors that he is not part of the windowed collection. Perhaps he will be re-released later down the line, seeing as he is a major character from the video game. I could understand perhaps a character like Zalbar wouldn't necessarily be re-released. We have seen him as a little bit of a peg warmer locally, but I think a character like Malak and even Bastila, I see them selling well, and I don't see it being a big issue if they reissue them. Darth Revan himself has been reissued a number of times. He is in the black box. We have seen him in that archive carded collection recently as well. and I'm just really hoping that we won't have to wait too long to see a few others. Zalbar is patiently waiting for Mission Veu to be added to the line so I can have those two friends together, and of course the likes of Jolie Bindo, Cartho Nessie, and all the rest of them. I want them all together with perhaps a few other of the other villains like Calo Nord. I think that that would be really fun. And of course Canderous Auto, T3 and 4, I want the whole gang, but I'm super excited to have these together. My one critique is perhaps I would have preferred 2 head sculpts for Malak, just so we don't have that kind of join at the front. It doesn't look very noticeable in the promo art here, of course. You know, they can either have a perfect version or perhaps Photoshop it a little bit for promotional purposes. It is a little bit more visible here than perhaps I would have liked, but I'm just glad that there isn't a major flaw to him. I will, you know, tweak this to see if I can get that meeting just a little bit tighter before I put him on sort of permanent display with my Black Series. So let me know what you think in the comments down below about this Black Series Gaming Greats Darth Malak action figure. Will you be picking this one up? Do you think he lives up to expectations from this packaging with the blind box? Or whether you think that Hasbro missed on a few aspects of this figure? I don't think he quite lives up to the Revan, but I really like it. I do. I think it's really fun, and I'm waiting to get my hands on the Bastila Shan. Fingers crossed she shows up here very soon, because she is one of my favorite characters from the game. I have to have her in my collection. If you are a Knights of the Old Republic fan, do check out our recent videos. I opened up a Gentle Giant Bastila Shan statue very recently that I absolutely love, and I also check out the Knights of the Old Republic Master Edition from Limited Run Games that is full of Knights of the Old Republic goodies. So if you're a fan of Knights of the Old Republic, do check out our other videos for more Knights of the Old Republic content and other Star Wars unboxings. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your favorite character from Knights of the Old Republic is down below. Catch you in the next video, and as always, may the Force be with you.
If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like, check out our other videos, and subscribe for alerts about new uploads. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.